Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. Welcome to round 6 of the SSRi GT3 Championship, the penultimate round of the season that sees us to the home of British motorsport. It is the wonderful Clay Pigeon, but as they weren't available, we had to go to Silverstone instead. My name's Chris Buxton, and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's escapades. Joining me in the box, keeping me on the straight and narrow, is Dave Hedges and Wouter Werter. Hello, gentlemen. Glad to be with you in the box.
Evening, Chris. Oh, it's going to be exciting, I think. The home of motorsport, British motorsport, have you said? You know, obviously the race at the last weekend, you know, Silverstone 500 at the same venue, and seeing the likes of Valentino Rossi racing around here for the first time. It's going to be awesome tonight, I think. But Dean Riley not present tonight, so we could have somebody closing up on him on the championship table.
Absolutely. We've got Dave Christie in control of the cameras, so if it goes wrong, blame him. No, not at all. He'll do an absolutely sterling job, I am absolutely certain. Qualifying is underway. It was just about to hit the 10-minute mark. Then it's 75 minutes of flat-out racing in these beautiful GT3 machinery with a mandatory pit stop in the mixture. That's how the calendar has gone up till now. Misano was our last haunt back in April, and there's one more round to go on the 24th of May at the wonderful Kyalami circuit. Another 75-minute round to see off the season, of which only 3 names are still in contention for the championship, one of which is not here. That's Dean Riley, a regular top hitter here at SSRi. Dean Riley, Adrian Antamati, and Nathan Pierce are the 3 names in contention for that top spot, but plenty of people looking to do well here today. I am a huge fan of Silverstone. I make no apologies for saying so. GT3 machinery, I'm absolutely useless in, and again, I make no apology for it. Now, does this circuit suit any one particular mark more than the other, I wonder, gents?
I'm not so sure about suiting anybody in particular. Obviously, the BMWs still seem to be very strong around almost all circuits. I think the McLaren has always seemed to have been a little bit struggling here. Maybe it's just top speed, but I think it's still going to be an interesting race no matter what. And just trying to make sure the 28 runners on the grid are going to just stay on track and be maximum clean.
Music to my ear. 28 runners around this beautiful Northamptonshire circuit. Absolutely. Really, really buzzing. Looking forward to this as we now head trackside to see who is doing what. And there is a BMW. It's our second place car. It is indeed Mr. Antamati that we immediately look for. And again, these liveries look absolutely resplendent in the British sunshine, as we see just a bit of a wiggle from the BMW coming out of left field and screaming on through towards through Woodcote, through Copse, and into the wonderful Maggers and Beckett's complex. That's somebody coming out of the pits. Didn't quite see who that was. Kieran Vidago, we can see there in third position. So it's a BMW 123, exactly as you called there, Dave. The BMW being rather favoured here. And then, as we've got a lovely side-by-side, and there is our current pole sitter of, that's Clayton Barney in the 85 car. That's all getting a bit squiggly, really pushing hard, coming out of Stowe down towards the club chicane. Being chased by yet another BMW, working his way through. Can he improve on an already impressive pole time? Well, yep, wrong finish line. That catches me up every single time I commentate at Silverstone. I never get the right finish line. That's the Formula One finish line. That's not the one that we're going to be using this time around. We are using the other one that is down at Woodcote. So, yep, I'll get that one wrong. If I refer to turn 1, it's I'm actually talking about Abbey, which is where we currently are working our way through. Coming through the loop now into Aintree and down the Wellington Strait. I always remember Kimi Raikkonen nearly impaling his car into the bridge wall in Ferrari a number of years back. Into Brooklands, and then this wonderful soundbox area where I got to enjoy the British Grand Prix back in 2018 in the left field stand. It wonderfully magnifies all the sound, which is great. You've got Cosworth V8 screaming through it. Very wide line for Clay Sparney then as he cuts back over Luffield through Woodcote to actually hit the line that we are going to be using this time around. Does he improve? Pole time is currently 156. He's the only one in the 56s. He improved that time around. Well, his competitors aren't hoping he's improving that time around, at least. As we now switch to Ben Mullard in the 77 McLaren, lead McLaren in the table. Look at that. 6 of the top 7 all BMWs. Truth alive. Well, you did call it, Dave. There's they have a bit of an advantage here.
They do, and I think obviously Kunos are probably going to do a little bit more towards those cars. They seem to have a good advantage. Else, a lot of tracks they are very easy to drive fast as well, which some of the cars are not. Certainly the McLaren is one of those tricky cars that you really have to push to get the most out of. But there's the times are looking pretty close. Like Barney is 156.8. Bantam actually only 0.3 behind currently, so he's going to be looking to try and improve on that, with Kieran also only 2/100 of a second behind Antamachi there. So obviously the SSRi Drive Team Esports team manager looking to probably put himself on the top step hopefully tonight, with Dean not being in his presence.
Absolutely. As we continue to watch Ben wrestle that wonderful white McLaren. Well, we did briefly until we switched to the number 87 car. That's John Beaton in one of the few Lexuses in the field. So this is the club chicane, so it's not the end of the lap. It's actually about halfway through it. Chasing off, I think that's actually Antamati. He might be catching to the back of. A bit of a yellow flag somewhere. Less than about 4.5 minutes remaining of this qualifying session. And as we said, a 75-minute race then ahead of us. A couple of the rounds we've seen in this championship have been a pair of 30-minute races. This one is a one single, let's say, sprint. I mean, there will be a little bit of pacing going on, but he'll be, on the whole, absolutely flat out as much as they can. The 462 Mercedes, that is Mr. Brophy. And that's what we see on board. Mark Brophy, indeed. He's just coming through the loop himself. I am a bit partial to the roar of the AMG Mercedes. Actually, they all sound quite nice in fairness, but I am rather keen on the low growling Merc, as that very imposing look. That's very AMG flavoured livery that he's wearing there, the dark grey with the yellow flash. Nicely done. Lead Merc, yes, lead Mercedes on the field, but is he the only Merc in the field? Yes, he's the only Merc, that's why he's the lead one. As he's now coming through left field himself to finish up the lap. Does he improve? 10th position currently as he comes over the line. No improvements for Mark Brophy as he continues on his merry way. Because we don't know how many people are going to do kind of lap on lap on lap on lap. The GT cars don't particularly mind putting a fair amount of stress through their tyres. They're fairly hard-standing things. As I think it was one of the Lexuses we saw just in the background there. Let's see who it was. Now, one thing I do want to see, and we're probably not going to be able to see it, is Mr. Pinchbeck. Is he wearing his usual pink wheels? Hence how he got the nickname Pinky Pinchbeck a little while ago. Actually, from his mother. Was in the chat once and gave us that one, so it's almost a bit of a mission to use that one, but he's in the pit lane, so he's not going to reveal his livery just yet. We'll see. We'll catch up with him a little bit later on. We continue to watch Mark Brophy coming into the club chicane. No one anywhere near him just yet. 2.5 minutes to go of this beautiful circuit, so it's just under a 2-minute lap, which all bar one actually have managed to get into. So very, very, very tight field. Which, as we say, Clayton Barney currently at the top of. Antamachi looking to capitalise on the fact that his main rival isn't here. Nathan Pearce is another one in that championship fight. He's in 5th at the moment, but he's in the pits, so will not be improving this time around. And so Dean Riley, we've already said that Dean Riley is not here. And there is Nathan Pearce, and he's a lovely, beautiful BMW. Sits in 5th at the moment, will not be taking any further part in this session. We now jump to one of the Audis in the field. So that is the 18th place car. That is, who is that? That's the number 34 car of Vernier. Is he the sole Audi? Not quite the sole Audi, but he is the lead one in the field at the moment, in a fairly strong midfield spot, as an 18th position at the moment.
I think the cars at the moment are really struggling to improve on their laps, Chris. I think just looking at the timing screens. Antamachi's maybe 1.5 tenths up on his current lap, so he could be due to improve, but he's only probably in the first sector. Obviously, as you said, Nathan Pearce, Beaton, and Asailovic are all in the pit, so they're not going to be improving. Some of the other people improving down the field, Van der Kraan in P21 at the moment, only 2 tenths up on his current time. He's due to be finishing his lap anytime soon, so I think he improved, but he didn't move up the table at all. Antamachi now he's lost all of his time, and he looks like he's actually spun. So he's and the yellow flags and he's gone back to pits there. Clive Bainey's just a little bit up on his time in his last lap of the qualifying. And Kieran Vidago here, 48 seconds into his lap, who's 1.6 tenths up. So he's looking to try and maybe skip Antamachi on his last lap.
Wearing resplendent in his SSRi colours. A few yellows out there. Clayton Barney's gone for a bit of a wander. He's returned back to the pits, so he'll do no more in this session. And there is Ben Mullard in the McLaren. He can do no more. That's one of our Bentleys. That's the 10th place car. That is Wouter, you went through this earlier. How did we say this again?
I believe Dimitri de Knoit.
De Knoit, that was it. I will try and remember. I won't try and put you on the spot like that every time. But I confess I do struggle with this one. It's more remembering how we've said it. And I'm likely to say it about 300 different ways as the session goes on. But the checkered flag is now out. Not many people still out there. Kieran Vidago is still looking to complete his lap. The BMW getting a bit squiggly. Where is he? He's coming to the end of the lap. So he's coming out of left field now through Woodcote. Can he improve? Cut very close to the wall, but no, remained in third. Does Vidago. That's the 15th place car. That's Nathan Cox over the line, and is almost gold-ish coloured. That's one of the Hondas, isn't it? But that one's pulled over, so he can do no further part in this session. A couple more cars still out there. That's someone deciding to take a rather direct route through everybody. That's one way to introduce yourself to the field, I suppose. The 336 car is still out there. There it is. John Medema. No, he's decided to have a look at the crowd instead. That looks like it was down at Abbey. And, well, that's the kind of colours I'm expecting Mr. Pinchbeck to be in. And that's the 24th place car. That is... Oh, as he nearly hits the wall there. Right. The grid is formed. So it is Barney from Antamachi, BMW front row, to start off the 75-minute race. And then it is Vidago and Mullard on row 2, BMW and McLaren. Row 3, it is Pierce and another name I'm going to trip over a few times. I think it's I can't say it.
Vijonovic. It's a Vijonovic.
Vijonovic, yes. I don't know why I struggle with that middle syllable, but the number 1 car, so another BMW row number 3. So then it's Beaton and Asailovic. I don't know why I get that one right, and Vijonovic I can't get right. But there we go. That's row 4, so it's Lexus and BMW. In row 5, it is Junior and... I told you I'd get it wrong again. Wouter, help me out again.
Dimitri de Knoit.
De Knoit. I will say it 10 times against the wall. I will try and get it right. Row 6 is De Bruyne and Brophy. On row 7, it's Pinchback and Van Drunen. And then row 8, it's Cox and Tehorst. Row 9, it's Spenkelink and Vanier. And row 10, Pixley and Medema. We saw that McLaren just pulling off towards the tail end of the session. And then on row 11, it's Van der Kraan and Lenson. And row 12 sees one of the few Porsches in the field of Holzer alongside B in the 606 car. Row 13 is Kroll and Planas. And at the tail end of the field is Vale and Tractor. So wonderful mix of cars and colours as we see the camera do its now traditional wander through the field. I love that BMW there, the number 70 car. That's being piloted by, I've forgotten who, it's Van Drunen that's got that one. Yeah, that one. There's the 69 car in the same colours. So, again, love that colour scheme. One of the SSRi cars there, that's the 34, which is Vanier. as we get but you can't ignore. Look at that Castrol color scheme as well. Thank you very much, David Christie, spanning the camera around to look at the Castrol flavoured McLaren. Those colours look odd on a McLaren. The BMW M Sport colours on a McLaren looks a bit strange to me, but there we go. That's just me for you. So 2.5 minutes to go, then 1 hour 15 of this amazing race. Ooh, fireworks, do we think, gents?
I think so. It's always a tight first lap. You know, you've got into Cops, which is always, you know, it's still quite quick, even though they're starting from a rolling start, quite slow speed. But going up into Maggotts and Beckett's, that's where all the action's going to be on the first lap for sure.
Indeed, indeed. So once everybody has readied up, all the cars will be dropped off the jacks. That's what that clunk is, in case you're wondering why they suddenly bounce. And also the orange ones on the tower indicate a mandatory pit stop yet to be set for each driver. So everybody has got to go through a mandatory pit stop at some point in the race. Some drivers may be forced to do this early if they've been involved in an incident, if they have damage to deal with, what have you. But it won't help them because they'll probably need to come in again towards the tail end of the race. Generally, you'll see these pit stops happen in the mid stage of the race. Some people will do it a bit early, some people will do it a bit late. Strategy is entirely up to them. There's no particular pit window they have to abide by, but they have to do it within, I think there's a few laps they can't do it within from the finish, but either way, it should be very, very entertaining. It's always a very tense moment, these few minutes before the rolling start gets underway, just itching to get going. There'll be a few nerves jangling away, especially for those at the sharper end of the field.
Yeah, definitely. It's always just making the last little adjustments, not trying to make too many changes to your setup, which is very tempting to do, especially when you've done lots of practice. But just making the last toilet break, off you go. Get on your warm-up lap, making sure your brakes are all warmed up, your tyres are as up to pressure as you can get them, which it's just easier said than done on a slow lap. And then making sure you get away nice and clean, not having any incidents and getting on the way.
Indeed, indeed. So then, who's not readied up? Well, unfortunately, we won't know. We can't tell who hasn't readied up. In 20 seconds, ready or not, they're going to be getting underway. As Mr. Barney will be leading them through the twists and turns of the Northamptonshire countryside to get this race underway. 1 hour, 15 minutes from when the lights go green, which will be, of course, when the rolling lap is complete. They will get going when the AI allows them to. And away we go. Well, Kyalami has. I get you're admiring this countryside, but come on, gents, we've got a race to do. There we go. We started to see. That was a bit odd, just no one wanting to move. Everyone seemed to be quite comfortable in their spots. Maybe someone had fallen asleep. Either way, they are now rolling as the field begin their merry way around the lap. 1 hour, 15 minutes, as we said, one mandatory pit stop during the course of the race. So it's all on, well, I'd say all on Antomarchi and Pierce, but there's plenty of positions to be gained, lots of fighting to enjoy throughout this evening's race. And yeah, that always makes me kind of just worry for a moment, but they can't hit one another in the roll-up lap. That's why you'll see that going on. People driving through one another. It's not the case of they're trying to hit one another. They can essentially ignore each other until the 2x2 line is reformed, and then it will be green light racing from there on in. What would you guys be driving, Mr. Hedges? What would you be driving if you were on the field?
My normal weapon of choice is the Audi, and I've quite like the new Audi Evo 2 as well. It seems to want to kill you less than the last Evo. But the BMW, like I said, does seem very easy to drive, and because I don't have enough time as I used to practice, then probably something like that, or something that's very easy to set up and dial in very quickly is probably my choice. I'm not sure about Buto. What do you tend to gravitate to?
Well, as I'm driving the Endurance series with the HRC, and I'm forced by that by using the Austin, so I have quite a bit of practice with that car, which I can use in some other series. So I'm liking it. So at almost every track, I'll be using the S10.
Yeah, there's a path less trodden is the Aston Martin. I am a fan of the McLaren. You call me predictable, but yes, I'm a big fan of the Macca. So I don't actually race in ACC. Oh, I don't race really at all. Let's just say my talents don't extend that far. I can do the shouty bit behind the microphone, much to the annoyance of my household, but as far as the actual driving is concerned, yeah, you wouldn't want me on your team, let's put it that way. But if I was to go with anything, it would be the wonderful British-based McLaren. I've been to that HQ in working. It's very, very, very nice building.
Yeah, it just looks very nice from the shots that we constantly get from the little snippets that you see on the Formula One broadcast. But what I found interesting over the last couple of days is the new Super Trofeo at Lamborghini. That is a car that is much improved, and thankfully it's now got traction control as well that works. So it's not far off GT3 pace. Certainly, if you look at maybe some of the amateur drivers who are maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds slower than some of the aliens, that you can probably put in some decent times in the Super Trofeo. So that could be some quite interesting racing if we ever go multi-class.
Yeah, the Super Trofeo was always an absolute monster. It was an animal to try and hang on to. So, yeah, look forward to the developments of that particular car. Yeah, like you said, I've heard a lot of good things about the Evo 2 Audi. As you mentioned that one, Dave. I've heard generally much the same kind of stories of it's less likely to kill you. That is the common story I've heard. I haven't heard anyone refer the original to its now evolved state, but enough waffle. We are time to get this underway as we have now gone through the lap. The 2x2 line is reformed really a long way apart. Why they're that far apart, I'm not sure. But when the lights go out, when the flag drops, we'll be racing here in Silverstone. You'll see the timer start to tick down, and well, everybody will suddenly get a very heavy right foot. And away we go. We are racing here at Silverstone. That looks like a pretty decent start for Vidago. He's looking to challenge the second already on the inside line of Antamachi, but can't quite get it done. I say the BMW closed the door. They're all three of them are BMWs up front. Everybody seems to have survived so far. No yellow flags coming into Magazine-Beckett for the first time in anger. Of course, the cars are very, very heavy at this point. Everybody's been practicing and qualifying in the optimal conditions. Very sticky new tyres, very, very empty fuel tank. And now is when the car feels like an absolute whale. But looking for Dargo, looking to challenge already for second position as he jumps out from the slipstream of Antamachi into Stowe, but can't quite get it done. Looks like everybody survived so far, but look at this. And Barley's like, you carry on. I'm just going to dance off into the distance. Antamachi is fighting for all he's worth to hang on to second.
Yeah, I think Kieran's like, don't worry, Dean, I've got him. Yeah, let's make sure it scores as little points as possible, because he's really got to win this race to get any chance of beating Dean.
Yeah, he's doing what he can to uphold the team honour, so to speak. But yeah, look at this. As Clowny Barney is just quite happy to continue along his merry way. He's quite happy for everyone else to fight behind him. It's not a huge gap, of course, that he's got to himself, but it's enough that he knows he doesn't have to start defending already into corners and what have you. Doesn't look like anybody's got any major gaps now. Looking at the timing screen, no, it looks like everybody's remained in. Well, just as the words leave my mouth, we've got a spinner. It's the 253 car. Has had a big moment there. Van der Kraan. Oh dear, oh dear. I'll take that one. I'll take that one as a commentator's curse. But still, the battle of the beamers behind the lead car going on. Clay Barney's, well, he's man untroubled at the moment, as Antamachi must be really feeling the pressure as Kieran Vidago determined to get on with it. Looking back from the lead car, the 85 BMW, that's only about half a second or so. Actually, why am I guessing? That's actually a second. I beg your pardon. That's what it looks like in these BMWs. Bit of a gap forming as well behind Kieran Vidago to Ben Mullard, who himself is defending for all he's worth from Nathan Pearce. So, battles going on throughout the field, as you would imagine, but not at the moment for the number 85 car.
No, but what a clean first lap. It's always a bit of a lottery whether we see some incidents on Cops or around Maggots and Beckett's, but excellent racing there from everybody. Tight, clean, and everybody's away. Some good close battles there. It looks like Pinchbeck's only 0.1 of a second behind Spenkling. In fact, it looks like he might have actually made the pass. There he is. Yeah, he's made the pass past Spenkeling, but Spenkeling gets back around him. He actually looks like he's run wide. Is that Van Drunen also trying to get around the outside into club?
Oh, someone's kicking up a bit of dust there, and you get a fair amount of people doing that. Oh, that was close. As Pinchbeck, not wearing his traditional pink wheels this time, really shuts the door on Van Drunen. You've got Cox right behind, hustling as well with Ter Horst in close pursuit. Everybody really trying their hardest to improve on their position. You've got Aston, you've got BMW, and then you've got everything going on there. Look right ahead of them, though. Struth alive. There's a big old pack fight in there. Slightly further up, you've got, again, the name I still can't say, Vujinovic. Is that right? I'll run with that as close as I'm going to get. In the number 1 green BMW, fighting off what almost looks like the lipstick-wearing Beamer behind. The treble one colour is a Selevic. In very, very brightly coloured BMW, chasing him down as we can see. Vujinovic trying to stay on the back of Nathan Pearce himself, hustling Ben Mullard in that lead McLaren. Those gaps continuing to extend there. You're just going out of the shot was Antomarchi and Fidago slightly further back. There's the 10th place Mercedes of Brophy, the 462 car. Look at that. That's not pressure you'd want to hang on to. That's a lot of headlights staring at him. I'd feel quite uncomfortable if I was in that position. But then, a race of this length, you do have to just get into the rhythm. Keep half an eye on your opponents, because you don't want to drive into them, obviously. But you know where the realistic overtaking opportunities are. Silverstone is a track that every racing fan knows. You know the capabilities of your own car as well. So by this point, we've had that early, first couple of laps of frantic action, but still plenty of pressure to be applied. Oh, is there trouble further back? It looks like Cox has had a bit of a spin. You see yellows there for the 36 car as he's fallen down the field, and there he is. Oh dear, he's fallen behind the Castrol car. That's not how... Oh dear, that's a big moment. Well caught. My goodness me, that could have gone very, very nice. I think it was B in the 606. Oh, that's less well caught, though. Was that the Castrol car that's just disappeared stage right? And big impact with the wall. Oh dear. That's never what you want to see. That's Planas in the... that is indeed the Castrol-flavoured McLaren has had a date with the wall.
Yeah, they're running so close together. It was inevitable that something was going to happen at some point. Unfortunately, it was, as you said, exit stage left and into the barriers. I think he's going to be going back to the pits fairly quickly if he hasn't already ported back here. It looks like he has.
He has.
So that would have been a significant amount of damage there.
Sadly so. First victim of the race, barely 5 minutes gone, and we have got Planas back in the pits. He can come back out, but I suspect he'll be in there for a while. It's always worth getting patched up, especially when you've had an issue this early on, and seeing how you can improve right behind where we're looking at the moment of Cox. Look at that lot having a great old fight for what is 22nd position, which will be Vale, Tractor and B. Tractor was the last place starter in the 313 Porsche, so he's picked up quite a few places indeed to stayed out of trouble, which is always part of the battle. You see that beautiful blue wheeled car working his way through Maggers and Beckett. Slightly further up, Pinchbeck is having an argument with that's a Spenkelink, isn't it? That he's just trying to make a move on. Outside at Stowe is going to be, it's always very, very hard, but he's now going to try and come back. He's going to be forcing the outside line again, coming into club. Then he's going to have pressure from Van Drunen right behind, but again, just manages to slot back into that gap. Give him his due. Pinchbeck is doing what he can to try and improve on his position.
It's so difficult to do at that point where you've got Van Drunen had the run on both Spenkelink and Pinchbeck there, and he just had to bide his time, just back out at the right time so he didn't collect both of them. But very well done to the three drivers there.
And it's very easy to forget how heavy your car is. Big move on the inside line coming into Village. Can he get it done? No, he had to take the title line, and with the momentum still in his favour. Oh, then Spenkelink was able to hang on to that one, maintain the 13th position, and immediately Pinchbeck had to defend from Van Drunen again. that's always the danger when the pack is this heavily condensed. If you make a move and it doesn't pay off, you almost immediately have to go straight back on the defensive to not cost yourself a position. But at the moment, Pinchbeck is hanging on to that 14th, where he doesn't have the luxury of just being able to run in the rhythm. He doesn't have well, certainly has the ability, he has the pace to try and improve in his position, but so does everyone else around him. So if he takes his eye off the ball, he could well be off into the dust. And well, there you go. It's a great in-car shot of the man himself. He's coming in 15th, where he shouldn't be. He's, there you go. The position marker will sort itself out shortly. He's actually in 14th. So, yeah, you can see by the amount of steering wheel action going on, he's keeping the car nice and smooth. It looks simple from the outside, but it's very difficult to maintain a really smooth operation when you're having to then obviously go through the usual motions of driving, obviously, racing line, braking point, and all the rest of it. But when you're then trying to attack somebody ahead of you or defend from someone behind, it really is very difficult to maintain that kind of smooth operation we were seeing from Chris Pinchbeck.
Yeah, I mean, the virtual Mr. Pinchbeck certainly, I'm sure, is a lot more relaxed than the real one, especially because he's got a broken collarbone at the moment. So he's racing with 1.5 hands, I think, probably at the moment. So certainly when he raced last week, I think in the 2.4 with Steve Parker, he certainly felt his arm off at the end of it. So hopefully he'll be okay this one. But it's just maximum concentration, because you can't afford to make any mistakes, because you're going to get swamped by 4, 5, 6 cars if you run wide and have a little incident off track. You can maybe protect it a little bit if it's just a little run wide or a little bit out of position, but you've got to be so careful.
A broken collarbone. That's dedication. My word. That is impressive. Yellow flag out there for, and that was Van Kraan again that's brought that one out. I think that one is resolved fairly quickly. And there he is in the 253 car. So he's had trouble somewhere around Abbey, trying to recover from earlier lost time in the Lexus. As we look to second place, again, as Antomarchi. Interestingly, Barney's not run off too far. Now, with the early pace that he looked like he was exhibiting, I thought he would just be gradually easing his way into the distance, but that progress seems to have halted somewhat. It's about 1.5 seconds, so it's not huge. He built up to about a second within, well, fairly quickly indeed. But I wonder now that Kieran Verdago has settled into his rhythm a bit, Antomarchi might try and close that gap down a little bit. Last lap, well, actually, Kieran Verdago was actually the quickest of the top 3 last time around. Barely a 100th of a second between Barney and Antomarchi last time around, as far as lap times are concerned. So we jump back to the battle continuing for 4th position. That is now Spenkelink, with Pinchbeck now ahead of McLaren. Working his way through. Where are they? That's coming out of Woodcote. No, it isn't. That's coming out of Club. Again, look, it just squabbles everywhere. Dave Christie doing a great job pointing the camera at the various battles going on. I don't envy your work at the moment. It's doing a great job bringing us all the action. It's working the way through. That's coming through the village and the loop. At the moment, you're seeing that Spenkelink is just having to concentrate on defence. It's a little bit too far back now to try and go after Pinchbeck, who himself has gone after De Bruyne. But again, that long train of cars, one mistake, and that's another thing, is that the mistake that can happen might not be yours. You might well be caught up with someone else's incident, as we now jump back to the, as I called it earlier, the lipstick emblazoned BMW of Adam Sadovich chasing off after Vujanovic.
Adam will love that. That's his colours that he has on almost every car now. He's been renowned for racing a Ferrari in those colours, and but it's either that or if you can imagine a static coloured McLaren. That was a horrendous car to be following, let alone seeing on broadcast. But yeah, he loved it because it's almost put people off.
Almost epileptic inducing, I imagine, if it's kind of the colour scheme I'm thinking of. As we now have a look at I cannot get it! Why? Canoit. Thank you. Every time the camera captures that, someone in my ear is going to have to tell me it's Dick Canoit. Come on, Chris, for God's sake, it's not that difficult. There he is, Dimitri Dick Canoit. Say it 10 times to the wall, and I might get there eventually. Is chasing off after the 9th place car. That's Beaton. Involved in their own scrap. Them coming through Club right now. What can the Bentley do against the Lexus? The Bentley, a big old beast at the best of times. I mean, the battle curb weights of these cars don't vary a huge amount. Handling characteristics are what separate them. BMW, of course, being the most widely represented. Oh, Deaconoid, they're having a look on the inside line. I'm finding a reason to say the name that many times to actually get it in my head. Having a look on the inside line coming into Village there, but didn't quite get the Bentley to commit. Interesting colour scheme as well. Oh, inside line, inside camera rather, as we look at Dimitri Deaconoid. Again, I think I've recited it enough that it might stick in my head. Chasing off after the number 87 car. So we get a bit of an idea on how to handle the beast. Now, interestingly, Deaconoid is sticking very much to that inside line coming through Luffield. That's one area where we see quite a few different lines being used. I think it was Antomarchi we were on board with during qualifying, took a very wide line going into Luffield and then cut very heavily back to the apex, whereas what we just saw from Deaconoid was a much sort of more gradual, staying very much to the inside line, then letting the car wander wide. I guess it depends on the setup you're utilising. I kind of prefer to stick very heavily to that inside line, but then I'm not quick, so what do I know? I can talk the talk. I sure as hell can't drive the drive.
Yeah, there's as you say, there's multiple lines, and it depends on where you are, and you know, some of us are not that good to actually replicate the same line race, lap by lap by lap. It's literally just try and maximise where you end up. If you get on the marbles as well, it can push you wide, but you've got the opportunity because it is a double apex anyway, so it doesn't impact you too much. But as we saw last year with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, you know, the cutback is a potential overtaking pace into Copse as well if you can get the run out of Luffield.
That's Van der Kraan bringing the Lexus in, along with Tractor as well, and the 303 Porsche have come into the pits then. So early pit stops for them, whether they were involved in incidents or whether they're just opting to get their mandatory stop out of the way. We are now, the fuel tank should just about hang on for an hour, so they may well just be opting to get their pit stop done and then just run the car all the way to the end. We'll see if that pays off for them as we still look at Deaconoid. Oh, looking right behind him. That 11th place car was getting very, very close coming into Brooklyn. So we now jump slightly further back on that 15th place battle. That's Van Drunen. That is having a look at the tail end of that is Spenkelink that he's looking at the moment in the Acura. Oh, that's again getting very, very close. Oh, that's the livery I picked up on earlier in that BMW. That wonderful kind of almost frosty blue face on that Beamer, being chased by his teammate, essentially wearing the same colours. That would be to Horst. There you go, just seeing him going out the shot. Great battling going on.
Yeah, here we are with Vidago, who's now closed into 0.4 of a second from Antomachi, who he's just dropped a little bit behind Clive Bainey. He's pulled two seconds out from these two. So the closer they get, the more they seem to be able to drop back from the leaders at the moment. So it may be just a matter of Kieran just thinking, you know what, I'll back off. Let's try and get back closer to Clive Bainey without the pressure and see if we can do something in the pit stop phase.
May well be. I mean, Clive Bainey just had the edge as far as pace is concerned. It's not been a huge amount. It's just a tenth here, half a tenth there, but it's just had enough to eke out that gap. Clive Bainey with the fastest lap at the moment in the 85 BMW as we ride on board with the 15th place number 70 BMW Van Drunen as he can do. Oh, that's a mistake. That's a mistake from the Acura ahead. Oh, that dog just gets close right in his face, but only just. That was a great recovery there from Spenkelink in the 74 car, just managing to recover that car from that really momentary wide. That was probably just gone in a little bit hot into Abbey and couldn't quite pull it back for Farm, but did manage to shut the door in time for Village. Then the next right-hander coming into the loop. We now come into Brooklands. Oh, and again, another mistake there. That's going to leave the door open, but only the outside line. It's very, very hard to make that move on the outside line as the camera looks through a marshal post to try and keep up with the action. And again, Spankeling just maintaining that spot. Great aerial shot here. There's a run coming from Van Drunen. Oh, can he get the move done on the inside line? No, he bails on that one coming into Cops. I mean, it's so hard to make a move there. Again, you all talk about Lewis and Max. Yeah, need I mention Cops, Lewis and Max in the same sentence, and I'll be shot by all the fans, all Max fans, I imagine. A drive-through penalty has been incurred by, that's Cox, isn't it, that's going to have a penalty?
Yeah, no, Cox, that's going to be for track limits, which is, in certain instances, in certain corners around here, is quite easy to get, so you've got to be really careful, and that's going to cost him. And is there a stop-go 30 there for balance? But I think he's been in the pits for a while there, isn't he? So after his incident, I don't think that was going to really impact him. But Aaron Van Drunen and Sam Spenkling. Oh, actually, Aaron Van Drunen's got past Spenkling there. So
has indeed. That'll be a move at Stowe. So yeah, nicely done for the BMW, wrestling that 14th position. He had to work for it. In fairness, well defended there from Spenkling. The tower will update itself on the next update. But you can see the position marker on the bottom right is always correct, so that will be where they now currently sit, but that has put them a little way behind Pinchbeck, who's in 13th, about 3.1 seconds, give or take, between the two cars in that position. So there is Van Drunen working his way through Aintree onto the Wellington Strait down towards Brooklands, and then you can see the gaps that are beginning to form. You may not be thinking about too much about those kind of gaps at this point. It's quite early to kind of really push for a big gap. You just need to settle into your rhythm. Of course, these all being GT3 cars, there's not massive performance differences between each car. So we now look at Adam Selovich, still chasing after Vujanovic, who is bringing Dave Jr. with him as well, along with... Is that Beaton right behind? No, not quite. So it's bigger one. There's Vujanovic, Selovich, and Junior in that particular train going on. Obviously, we're 15 minutes in. We're still seeing these big collections of cars.
Yeah, and Nathan Pearce is sitting in 5th position. Vujanovic is really trying to get some pace up, just to maybe battle off with Selovich and trying to catch up with Nathan Pearce. But Nathan Pearce really needs to move up the field, maybe 2 or 3 spots if he's even going to have any chance of retaining any chance of the championship. He needs to win just like Antamachi does. So it's going to be difficult, I think, for him from there. So he might be just consolidate and trying to finish 2nd or 3rd in the championship. That might be the best result he can get this year.
We will see. Plenty of time to go, though, so a lot could happen in the remaining just under 54 minutes of this race. Nathan Pearce still staring at the back of the McLaren as we jump back down to the 10th place car, Dick Canoit. Again, I don't know why I struggle with it so much, considering how many times I said it before. Oh, Brophy in the 462. Mercedes getting on the inside line, coming through Aintree. Can he get it done, though? Has he got the momentum? He's going to get the inside line for Brooklands. No. He bowed out of that one, picks up a little bit more slipstream. He's going to try and dive this time. There he goes. Belay on the brakes. Nicely done. Very confident move there from the Mercedes. The Bentley did not anticipate that. Dick Canoit has got to relinquish that particular position, but right behind them, you've got 2 more cars looking to do battle at Bentley then. Oh, he's in the pits, so that could be why Dimitri Dick Canoit, maybe he didn't fight that one too hard, knowing he was coming into the pits at this early stage. We will see. As a 7th place, that's now Junior that has that one, as Selovich is now behind him in the Triple One car.
What a great move, though. Maximum respect from both drivers. He took the lunge, wasn't too late. The gap was there. It looked like DeCoint was going to try and shut the door, but just a little bit too late to make that move, and off he went round on the inside and made the pass cleanly. But I think 15, 25 minutes or so since the start of the race. I think maybe his tyres are struggling. Just get in the pits, get some clean air, and put some pressure on the clock rather than being constantly pounded by somebody.
It appears has made that move. Oh, there's another one that's trying to be happening. There's Dave Jr. in the number 10 BMW trying to do something against Adam Asadovich in the lipstick and blazing BMW. Then right behind you've got that's John Beaton right behind. Goodness me, it's so much fighting going on. It's so early on. It's great to see. It was great for us to see. I'm sure the drivers may not be wanting to battle so early on, especially with the car still being very, very heavy. Look at that. You're seeing Adam Asadovich having to take a very defensive posture, a little bit slower through Village than perhaps Dave Jr. would have liked. Now coming through Aintree, is this an opportunity for Dave Jr.? No, Asadovich has had a really good run through those corners, has given himself just enough breathing space. The Wellington Straight's not particularly long. It's long enough to make a move, as we've literally seen only a few minutes ago. But Dave Jr. was a little bit too far back. Here you go. Here's a great example of the different lines being taken. You've got Asadovich really hugging that apex line, staying very, very tight. But that'll, of course, potentially give him a bit of a slower exit speed. But Dave Jr. was trying the slightly wider line to try and maintain his momentum. And they both pretty much remain exactly where they were. Now coming through Copse, heading towards Maggers and Beckett's. I'm not surprised that we've seen a few track limits penalties as well. When you're pushing that hard, particularly at Silverstone, it's so easy to wander that little bit off the road at the likes of Copse or Stowe, particularly if you're following someone because the aerodynamic efficiency is that much reduced. It's just very, very easy to wander that tiny bit too wide. And with the field so close on pace, you're trying to maximise every advantage you can possibly find to move your way further up the field. But look at this from Asadovich. Wow, he didn't like that challenge from Dave Jr. It looked like he's now really starting to get the hammer down, chasing off after Vujanovic.
Yeah, it looks a long way, but it's only half a second that he's got at the moment. So he's still well in with the rest of it. As Dave Jr. really closes up on his braking point there, and he's trying to get on the power, but it looks like Adam obviously made the get out of the corner a lot better there than Dave Jr. So from the back of Vujanovic there, he's obviously pulled out over 2 seconds now. So at the moment he's safe, but that again, any little incident that can get swallowed back up. Looking back from the Lipstick car, as you call it. It's going to be really, really big pressure. But if Dave Jr. gets past him from a mistake from Izanovic, then Brophy could be, Beaton could be past him as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Adam Asadovich won't thank me for calling his car that. Slightly further down the field, the 19th position car that we're looking at the moment, that's Kroll. That is at the tail end of this particular field, staring at the back. Well, position-wise, is behind the 34 Audi. And there you go. You just seen the Audi essentially hiding behind the Bentley there, the pink accented Bentley. So in that particular pack, you can see obviously Tim Kroll, as we're looking at, in the number 90 car. He's chasing Vernier, Pixley, and To Horst is the lead car in that particular train. So there's 4-car train going on. And when you've got just a couple of cars involved in a particular battle, you kind of know where each other is going to go. It's very much punch and counter punch. You respond to the actions of the car you're either chasing or defending against. But that's a back marker they're coming past. When there's multiple cars in a pack, the dynamic of that particular battle completely changes. You have got to keep an eye on everybody involved. As your racing sense goes into very much overdrive at that point. It becomes much less straightforward, and in a longer race you want things straightforward. Shorter sprint races, you're not so worried about that. It's just out there and giving it everything you've got the whole time. But in longer endurance series, you can't do that. You cannot remain at absolute full crank for 3 hours on end. Well, I certainly can't. I can barely do it for 45 minutes. I'm wandering off into the dust and getting distracted by, I don't know, twittering birds in the corner or something. By that point, so I haven't got the mental power to hang on to it. As we look, big challenge here. That's Pinchbeck now up to 11th. Impact between the two. The 4-6 star just making contact, but it was a tiny, well driven actually by Brophy and Pinchback. That could have gone horribly wrong. Pinchback really did have the momentum on the Mercedes to try and challenge for the move. He looks like he's going to have a go again. The Aston is lining up for a potential move. Look how early Brophy went to that defensive line. Pinchback trying to find room on the inside line. That's not the ideal place to do it. You want the inside of a corner, yes, but you want the inside for Luffield ideally. And going the outside of Brooklyn is where you're going to try and set yourself up for the inside of Luffield. Does not quite pull off at the moment. As, oh, that's someone wondering a bit, why was that Brophy going into the pitch? Yes, it was. So now that is going to be 10th position in the hand of Pinky Pinchback.
Yeah, Pinchback really needs to make this count now. He clearly had the pace on Brophy, so maybe 1-2 laps, get above him, get the overcut, and make sure he comes out of the pits in front, because it looks like it's going to be a difficult day for him if he really needs to battle with him all race.
He's now got a little bit of space, not very much, but he has got a bit of space between himself and John Beaton ahead in the 87 Lexus. So that's on the right was where we were looking, and on the left is our race leader. Has been all night long so far. That's Clay Barney, that still leads the way and fairly unchallenged up front. That lead is now 3 seconds, so he's not extended it to a huge amount. He's just been a slow, gradual increase, lap on lap on lap. So like I said before, it's a 10th here, half 10th there. The Barney's just had in his pocket. Can he maintain that pace? We'll see post pit stop if he's able to maintain that kind of pace advantage. We will see. As on the right hand side you see that great battle going on. That's still Pinchback we're looking at in the SSRi in Blazer number 43 Aston. Well, he didn't take long to close down on John Beaton, did he? He's now looking to shape up a move to really get well inside the top 10.
Yeah, he's obviously that's what he needed. He needs the pace, but he doesn't want to get stuck behind Beaton. If he's getting too close, it'll be better for him to get in the pits, get those new boots on, and get out and try and make sure he comes out ahead of Brophy, who stopped and has actually been passed in the pits by Decanoid by the looks of things.
Indeed. So Brophy having a bit of a longer stop there, by about 2.5 seconds or so. Brophy is behind Canoid now. So we'll see if that maintains or what he's able to do about that as we continue to look at Pinchback staring at the back still of the 87 Lexus. Oh, the Lexus getting very, very squiggly. Coming through Cops, heading down towards Mackens and Beckett's, but Pinchback wasn't able to capitalise on that. The mighty Aston Martin now into Maggots, into Beckett's, and then looking back from John Beaton's car. You see just the looming presence of Pinchback, and really not far behind is De Bruyne in the 185 BMW. So, and there we go, there's another shot of that. Then right behind them is the Van Drunen, and then that's where Spankerleek has ended up. Still in 13th position. Pinchback thinking about a move on the inside line of Stowe. He's got the pace to use, and he's very keen to use it. He's not just sitting there and letting the miles go by. He wants to get up and get on with the race. And very early defence there from John Beaton coming down through the club chicane. Can't quite, or the SSRi car cannot quite make his way past. But that's bringing De Bruyne back into this battle. That's not what Pinchback needs. He wants to get on with it. It looks like he does have a bit of a pace advantage over the Lexus ahead. Can he utilise it at the crucial point? That's going to be the golden question. Now into Abbey. Can he banzai on the inside? Again, he thought about it. He did jump just a little bit on the inside line of Village, but just can't commit to it. Now Pinchback has very much got his mirrors full of De Bruyne. So he can't just focus on what's ahead of him. This is what I was saying earlier. When you've got a two-car battle, you know exactly what you're going to do. Now that that's a three-car train, he's got to keep half an eye on De Bruyne behind. He can't just focus on the Lexus ahead. So we'll see if that changes Pinchback's approach. And then really not far behind, you've got the next collection of cars. There's only actually two of them, which is Van Drunen and Spenkeley. But the more these guys fight, that could well bring that next pack to him. But like you say, Dave, I think if they're going to fight that hard, it's in their best interest to try and undercut the car ahead of him. We will see as we go to start another lap coming through Cops.
Yeah, I think Chris is only 0.2 of a second behind, as we can see is very close up the back of the Beaton in the Lexus. I think he really should be considering making a pit stop very soon. So if we can't get past this lap, I'll be thinking, next lap that's going to be definitely got to come in and try and make that undercut.
Van Drunen has come in the number 70 BMW. So, he didn't fancy being in that pack any longer. So in for his mandatory stop. Let's see where that drops him. I would imagine that would be around somewhere, certainly in the region of De Knoit. We will see as the race continues, still looking at the Aston, still staring at the Lexus with the BMW in tow. No, Pinchback is a little bit too far back to try and make a move this time around, coming through the club chicane and through onto what is now called the Hamilton Strait, where now the F1 start-finish line uses. And there at well, that's not Dave Jr. you've just seen, and that's coming out of the pits. That's not De Knoit.
That's Van Drunen, I think.
That's Van Drunen, yeah, beg your pardon. So he's behind Brophy actually by a bit of a distance there. So I thought he would come out by De Knoit somewhere, but no, he's actually come out about 7 seconds behind Brophy, so he's got some time to make up there.
Yeah, this is where, obviously, I don't know if Chris is able to see, the timing towers, on his dash and see where Brophy and Van Drunen were coming out, but he really needs to be thinking that the clean, fresh tyres are really going to be helping those other drivers. It looks like De Knoit and Nard Cox, especially, they both pitted, and it seems that they've made hay with the new tyres.
Nathan Pearce is in the pits as well from inside the top 5, so that's going to be interesting to see where he reappears. I thought Beaton was coming in the pits then, but no, he's carrying on. There is the 174 car. That is indeed Nathan Pearce that's in the pits. Vanier is also in as well. So I think we have 25. I think we've certainly lost Tractor in that 313 Porsche earlier on. We have definitely lost a car or two, sadly, in the race. 25 runners seems to be the order of the day. We lost the Castrol McLaren, didn't we? We have 7 runners still in the session. So, alas, a few victims, but that is the nature of the beast. We are fast approaching the halfway stage in this race. 40 minutes remain. There's Asalovic again. He's closed right in on Vujinovic. So that's a great scrap between the Beamers for 5th position, with the next one in tow, Dave Jr. in the number 10 car, also ready to join that particular party, but Asalovic now beginning to move.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the timers. Like Bainey's now 3.2 seconds ahead of Antamachi in second, with Vidago another 4 seconds back, so he's really dropped back. Maybe he's pushed the tyres a little bit hard being behind Antamachi that long. Mullard another 9.8 behind. Actually, it looks like if Narcox has actually stopped, which I'm going to double check, it looks like Nathan Pearce is actually behind him. So it looks like he might have lost a position. So I'm just going to click through and just make sure Narcox has actually made a stop. Yes, he has made a pit stop. So Narcox pulled a blinder on his pit stops there. So we see Asalovic coming into the pits.
Indeed, but he's still showing as needing to serve his pit stop in on the tower. So was that a stop-go penalty or a drive-through that Cox had to serve? So I'm not 100% certain on that one. He's still showing on the tower as having to serve his mandatory pit stop, but one person that is serving it is Adam Asalovic. He's not the only one to come in. That's Chris Pinchback that has come in as well. So Aston and Beamer are one of the many Beamers coming in. Oh, that's Bate that's coming past Barney, rather, that's coming past the Porsche. That is, I think that's Holzer, and the number, it must be, it's the sole remaining Porsche. That's Holzer in the number 60 car that our leader has just gone past, and still carrying on his merry jaunt, just slowly, well, I say slowly, he's still just slowly edging that gap, just getting ever bigger, but he's not taking risks, he's not pushing too hard, he's just doing exactly what he needs to do to continue pushing on. Now Cox is in. So yeah, I think that was if he'd been through the pits earlier, that must have been a penalty that he was serving, because now Cox is in the pits. So that's going to elevate Pearce back up to 16th. Asalovic is 17th. He's back on the road now. And there is Nard Cox in the 36 car. There is Mr. Pinchback coming back out onto the circuit. So of course rejoining just by Abbey. No, it isn't. That's the wrong pit lane. I knew I'd do that at some point. That rejoins just after Cops, I beg your pardon. Straight into Maggins and Beckett then. for pitch break. You can see now that the orange marker has turned green for those that have served their mandatory pit stops. So it's just the top half of the field yet to do so. But we're pretty much bang on halfway, and I would imagine that those that haven't seen the pit stops will be in very, very soon. Some people may be waiting for others to respond, but we will see if that is the case. There's another one. That's Ben Mallard in the... Mallard, he's not a duck. Mullard, rather. That's coming in, the lead McLaren, along with Dave Jr., also coming in the number 10 BMW. I wouldn't be surprised if we see quite a few people coming in the next few laps just to get those pit stops out of the way. Some people may choose to run long. We'll see. Who knows what pit stops strategies they're running. Now up to 5th position is John Beaton in the 87 car. He is being chased by, I think it's De Bruyne right behind him. Yes, it is, in the 185 BMW. So still some pit stops to do, but plenty of action still to come.
Yeah, and Brophy there, I'm just looking at the timing as well. He's managed to pull 3 seconds out on Pinchbeck just from stopping that 3 laps earlier. Obviously, Pinchbeck battling and trying to push as much as possible, but it's not really helped him. He's now got to catch back up onto Brophy, and we've got 36 minutes left of the race, and that's going to be a tall order to try and catch that back up and retake that position. But if anyone can do it, Chris can do it. He obviously had the pace earlier, so we'll see how he gets on. But we see obviously Anthony Terhorst and Lulu B and Sarnavale all in the pits now as well, so they'll be dropping down the tower.
Yes, indeed. A few more pit stops being served. So it's just the top 10 now to see the pit lane. See, Tim Kroll is fairly close to the back of Pixley for whatever. Well, there you go. Well-timed cameraman. So the number 90 car chasing number 80. Working their way through Abbey Farm and Village. Trying to improve their position. Race leader is in. So Barney and Antomarchi is coming in. Is Kieran Vidago going to follow? No. Kieran Vidago has decided to try and overcut. Fair enough. We'll see if that pays off for him. He does seem... Now, was Kieran Vidago saving a bit in his tyre to try and push on now? I mean, if he was, he dropped quite some distance behind the leader. So we will see if that's what he chooses to do. Vujanovic has come in. Oh, yellow flag from Varley there. Had a bit of an error coming out of the pits, actually in the Audi. De Bruyne's come in. Spenkelink has not, along with John Beaton. John Beaton's not coming as well. So another one looking to go a little bit longer, seeing what he's able to do. I wonder what Sundervale did. Whatever he did, he has recovered from it. There is Clay Barney then coming back out onto the field, being chased by... That will be... was that Vujanovic right behind? No, it was Antomarchi, beg your pardon. That's coming out onto the track right behind him. So they'll... third and fourth, I think they're coming out in... Well, sorry, beg your pardon. According to the tower, they're actually in 5th and 6th. So lots of shuffling of positions going on. Pierce is now up position-wise behind Antomarchi. So Nathan Pierce, whilst time-wise is still about 12 seconds down the road, he certainly gained some positions. So that potentially... Well, it really depends on what the current top 3 or 4 do. Oh dear, that's a penalty being given to... Is that De Bruyne, the 185 car that's gone on to have a penalty?
Yeah, stop go 30, so that will be speeding in the pits.
Oh, that's so frustrating, and that'll be the merest of mistake as well. Just letting the pit lane spin limiter go just that tiny bit too early, or kicking it in. So I suspect it's on the way out rather than on the way in, because I'm sure that's only just appeared. In comes Kieran Vidago then, so just one more additional lap for him. And looking at his in lap, he was about the same as Barney and Antomarchi. So it's probably not gained him a huge amount, but I mean, we will see. It could be that he's aiming to be in the pits a little bit less, take on a bit less fuel. We will see if that pays off for him. It could well do, but it was quite a gap that he was looking to close down.
Yeah, only one lap difference, so he's not going to be able to take the tyre advantage that you might get from from finishing really late. Obviously, probably the quickest way in terms of pit stops, because it is a set 25 seconds minimum on the pit stops for this series. you don't really get that advantage from trying to run really long. So we'll see. He obviously wants to make sure he hits his marks and gets out without speeding, and to retake his position into third. So at the moment, Barney and Antamachi have retaken their positions. So hopefully he can get back out in front of Nathan Pearce.
Drive-through penalty for To Horst. Oh dear, his day getting even worse. In 20th position at the moment, as we look at 13th place car Brophy in the Merc, chasing as hard as he can the number one of Vujanovic. We'll see. There's Lenson that's now in the pits. The 31 car has now come in. Dan Lenson. Oh, was there a potential move forming here? Whoa, that's an unusual line to try and take. It coming into Maggots. You don't need to try and cut that hard. Actually, it's probably a detriment if you do, but these Mercedes still hanging on to the back of the number one BMW. They're closing in, or it looks like they're closing in on the 987. That's De Canoit in the Aston Martin. There's a big gaggle of cars forming here. They're all rough, with the exception of Brophy, all fairly close together. De Horst has come in to serve his penalty. De Bruyne is in. Is that? That'll be to serve his penalty as well. Oh, now this is now a battle for 11th position, with Vujanovic trying his best to hang on or to keep Brophy behind. As I say, De Canoit is just under 1.5 seconds down the road. What can he do from there? And Kieran Vidago has come back out in a net third, so Nathan Pearce has gained as a result of that. But I think, actually no, he hasn't, because I beg your pardon, he was ahead of Mullard before the pit stops. So he's reappeared essentially where he was before. But Ben Mullard is only he's around about 2 seconds actually behind Nathan Pearce, so he could mount an attack for fourth position at least in the lead McLaren.
Yeah, Spenklink's in the pits from second, so he'll be falling down. But just a word on the obviously the two classes that we've got racing today is we obviously have the pro and the semi-pro classes, which are dominated by the white and the grey coloured squares on the timing tower. As you can see, at the moment Beaton is in P1, but he will be still to pit. So Vujanovic will be probably taking that position in terms of the silver class, with Clyde Bainey obviously in the pro class will be P1 in that class. So they will be scoring the same amount of points per class, but overall you can see where they're finishing on the tower.
Oh, move there from the 636. Oh, that's caused the Porsche to spin. That's Holzer. That's had a bit of a spin there. Did he collect Cox in the meantime? Couldn't quite see from that camera angle. It was a fair move. Oh, yes, he did. That was a bit unfortunate there. The Porsche, but there didn't seem to be impact between Holzer and B. I think it was a fair move, but unfortunately that just put the Porsche into a bit of a spin. It collected Cox in the meantime. That was a shame. It was actually a pretty good move. We now look to Pinchbeck, looking to try and get back inside the top 10. He's 3.8 behind Brophy, as I've just seen we've lost another from the session, but not sure. Oh, that's not ideal. That's the horse that's parked it on the side of the road.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. I'm assuming he's maybe have a technical issue, or he's hit the wall really hard, or he's had a phone call or Amazon delivery or something like that. So maybe he's had to stop and pull off. But he's certainly not gone back to the pits yet.
Perhaps the takeaway arrived a bit earlier than he was expecting. But either way, he parked up on the side of the road, like you say. He's not. Now he's returned his car to the pits. So I'm assuming that was a technical problem. John Beaton in the pits now, relinquishing the lead back over to Barney. Antamachi in second. Kieran Vidago back into third. But Kieran Vidago, like you say, Dave, has not gained at all. Fastest lap has changed hands. So now Antamachi in the number 2 BMW has pressed on a bit and claimed the fastest lap. Not that that's going to gain him an awful lot, but it's showing he's got some more pace to use. The pace difference between himself and Barney last time around was actually a few tenths of a second, in fairness, with only 3.4 between them. So we might see a battle for the lead before too long. There is our new fastest lap holder chasing off the race leader. Look at the gap behind, though. I mean, bearing in mind how hard Kieran Vidago and Antomarchi were fighting at the very beginning. Like you said, Dave, it could be that Kieran Vidago burned the best out of his tires too quickly. That gap now 8.4 seconds between second and third. But Adrian Antomarchi it looks like he means business.
Yeah, Kieran struggled in the second phase of the race here. He's not sure what's happened. Maybe the track temperature's changed a little bit too much for the setup that he's running. So, unfortunately, he can maintain that fight with P2. But Antomarchi is honestly got a bit between his teeth, really trying to catch the P1, which is obviously what he needs to. And obviously, we're on board here with Tim Kroll, is it? I think with Van Aeren ahead of him in the Audi. Really close, really close battle that one. I think that one will probably rumble on, but obviously we've got Rich Pixley, I think, in behind there with for the Wild Things Racing team. Just biding his time, maybe looking to put a bit of pressure on Kroll whilst he's battling.
Indeed. And right behind Kroll is, like you say, Rich Pixley. That I was just watching that on the timing screen, watching this battle kind of forming essentially, with Veneer in the number 34 car, very much under pressure. That is the 9th. That's Vujanovic. This is another one I was also looking at. He's on the back of De Knoit, with Brophy only 1.5 behind. And Pinchbeck was really pressing on early. Pinchbeck was the fastest of that particular block of 4, so Chris Pinchbeck could well have a fair amount of opponents in the latter half of this race. 26 minutes of it remaining, so the timer is very quickly disappearing on our drivers. So if they're going to want to push for position, they need to do it soon, as that time is not going to be on their side for very much longer. Also, I noticed the number 606, Lula B, sadly had an issue and has dropped behind Nathan Cox again. It was a shame, because we saw that great move that they were able to put on, which has sadly undone itself a little bit later on. Like you said, the Pro-Ams in the semi-pros are weak, but no, Pro-Am, that's not a habit, denoted by the grey numeric board on the tower, being led by Vujanovic, who is currently challenging Dimitri De Knoit in the number 987 car. Goodness sake, 987 car in 8th position. Oh, as we see Tim Kroll having an argument outside line of Stowe against that. Who's the argument against? Never mind. He's had against Veneer. He's having an argument with Rich Pixley. That's a sentence to say. Right behind them as well. What a great three-way scrap we've got going on here.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? What a great move round outside of Stowe, just putting Veneer off the line, making sure he could get up the inside into Club, which is one of the best places to overtake on the course.
Absolutely, as we ride on board with Rich Pixley. Oh, that's a big move on the inside line coming into Village. Can he hold it though? Can he get that Bentley round? No, as Kroll, beg your pardon, as Veneer has managed to reclaim that one from Pixley, but that move isn't going to be concluded, as that's going to put the Audi slightly out of sync. The Bentley having a go with slipstreaming down the Wellington Straight. He's going to have a look on the inside line of Brooklands. No, he's choosing to bide his time in the pink accented Bentley. Not so much here for 9th position, and that one was pretty much done. De Knoit recognised that he wasn't going to be able to close the door on Vujanovic. Oh, there's the Mercedes coming in as well. That's Brophy. So is De Knoit in trouble? Because that's 2 positions he suddenly lost. We didn't see him hit anything, but it could be he's just had a bad run from Luffield that's kind of put him out of sync going through Magnus and Beckett. He looks like he's back on the pace again. This three-way fight going on. Then you've got Pinchback not far behind. Oh, wow. As then you've got that's Spankerling that's having an argument. Again, there's too many battles to keep an eye on. Dave Christie doing a great job pointing the cameras in every direction he can. As we now look at this line, everybody knows that they don't have long to be able to improve on their position. Everybody's really pushing on now. It's giving us some brilliant racing.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be looking at going around the outside of Maggots, to be honest, but obviously he felt that he had enough speed to get around just in the nick of time, which he did, and what an awesome move that was. But great racing. There's lots of 0.5 seconds down the field, which really close racing with Dave Jr. only 0.6 of a second behind Sailovich in 6th, so that one's warming up nicely. And Tomachi's dropped back to 4 seconds now, so he's he may have burnt his tyres out trying to push, but that might be the end of the season for him. But we'll see what happens in Kyalami. But there's some great racing going on here. Very respectful. Not too many incidents, which is great for our community as always, and great for the stewards, so they won't have too much to look at.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a brilliant show from our drivers so far, so can't fault them there. Riding on board with that's Rich Pixley in the 18th position car. That's the view. That's what a second looks like. So it's just over a second between himself and Veneer in the number 34 Audi, who himself is chasing Tim Kroll in that number 90 Lexus. So yeah, plenty of fighting still to do. Less than 22 minutes remain, so well into the second half of the race now. Everybody has their pit stops. So the only one that hasn't is that 313 Porsche Tractor that's been in there for about 18 laps. So assuming he's not coming back out again, which was, I mean, he stayed in session. Oh, just as I mentioned that, I think he's actually just dropped. Yes, he has. So never mind. Beg your pardon. That's just scrolled up the tower. That caught me out there. Beg your pardon. So he's still in the session, but it's not looking like he's going to be coming back out in a hurry. Never mind. That's a shame. But we continue to enjoy some brilliant racing then. So that's Decanoites that seem to have that bit of a blip. Look right behind as well. That's Pinchbeck and Beaton having an argument for 11th position, but Pinchbeck has basically dragged John Beaton with him to the back of this. It's currently a 3-car train, but Vujanovic could well be trying to break away. Well, I'm sure he's trying to break away from Brophy, but he looks really ready to get away from his pursuers.
Yeah, just I think Beaton, Pinchbeck, Decanoit and Brophy are all very close, and they're only probably 2-3 seconds behind the silver class, the Pro-Am class. The silver class. You're right. So trying not to do Pro-Am because that's in the other tier. So there is, it's warming up to maybe being a fight for P1 in that class. So let's watch this space. It's 20 minutes to go. It's going to be getting close. I think Chris Pinchbeck really needs to make the pass on Decanoit, and Brophy obviously needs to get ahead of Vujanovic and get those closer together.
And he's looking like he's meaning business. He's been pressing on. We saw that pace from Pinchbeck earlier, didn't we? He was up to 9th before the pit stops happened. So he's got the pace and determination to do it. As we look at that's right behind Pinchbeck indeed. That's John Beaton chasing Chris Pinchbeck with back markers in the mixture as well. That always spices things up a little bit. Working the way through. Is that Luda B that's just come out there? I think that might be Luda B actually. That's Medina. That's the 336 McLaren. I think they've just gone past. Oh, that's someone kicking up a lot of dust. Oh my god. Well, I'm not sure who was kicking up a smoke screen there. I think it might have been Decanoit, because now Pinchbeck is under a second behind. Whoa, you're not going to make a lunge from that far back, sir. I'm not sure he was actually meaning to. I think it was just a difference in line. Slightly further up, that's Dave Jr. on the back of Adam Asenovic. Half a second between those two. That's a battle for 6th place between the two BMWs. Closing stages of the race, battle's still very much on.
Yeah, I think it looks like it's a done deal at the top of the field, but for the silver class, it's very much alive. This battle is raging on, and only 18 minutes now, and it's going to be difficult for everyone to stay as they are. But there's going to be some good overtakes, I think.
And with the Silverstone being heavy on the tire wear, and almost an hour into the race, the drivers will have to tackle the tire wear pretty much now, as that might also be an influence in the race.
Fair point, well made, Wouter. Of course, we don't know what the tyre wear amounts are like, but it does look like that several people are straight. Oh, you saw the Mercedes there at the front of that particular train. That would be Brophy, just going a bit deep there, going into Brooklyn. That won't have caused him too much problems, as it's obviously such a tiny run down to Luffield. But people are going to smell blood in the water. Here comes Pinchbeck. Oh, don't try and move there. Oh, he's not listening to me. He's saying, never mind, hold my beer. I'm having a go at this. And the Aston Martin doesn't quite commit to it at Cops. I think that was slightly more cautious line from De Kanoit more than it was a move from Pinchbeck. But that just shows that the SSRi in Blazer number 43 was really looking to press on a little bit further up the field. That's Vujovic, that's Vujanovic, I still can't get it right, even this line of the race, leading the silver class. He's got the world to himself, essentially, but this man does not. That's Brophy in the ninth place car. Look at the behind. Oh, that's getting close side by side, coming through Stowe. Who's going to win out between Pinchbeck and Beaton on that one? It was Pinchbeck manages to fend off the advances of John Beaton, now coming through the club chicane. The Aston, gets a face full of dust there. I'm assuming that was Brophy that kicked that up. But yeah, everyone just piling pressure on. This is, you've got there's an air of something's going to happen in this lot in a minute. And yeah, let's have it, because this is proving great stuff. I love the fact that no one's just going through the miles. They're not just waiting for an opportunity. Oh wow, as Pinchbeck nearly tries to go on the inside line, going through Village, and then nearly tries to integrate his car into the Bentley of De Kanoit right ahead of him. Oh, truth to lie, this is fantastic.
You nearly called it there, Chris. I think it was very close to collecting De Kanoit in front of him. I think he's certainly got the pace there. He just needs to try and find a way past and hope for a little mistake that's going to give him the run up the inside on one of the normal passing places, because these cars are so well matched. You really do have to wait for somebody to make a mistake.
Look at this, Mercedes versus Bentley versus Aston. Absolutely fantastic. Great mixture of marks, all doing battle for, basically a position inside the top 10. That is, or a better position inside the top 10, I should be saying, is really what they're gunning for. And is that another one? Yeah, that's Spankerlink looking to join in the Acura as well. Oh, Struth, 5-car conga line going on here behind. I'm not convinced they're being held up by Brophy particularly, but it's just they happen to be that close. Oh, is there someone behind Spankerlink as well? Not quite, no. Spankerlink is actually the last one position-wise to be able to challenge for that particular spot. That is the view from the number 74 car. He's homing in on this 4-car line at the moment. Is that a back marker ahead of Brophy? No, I think that's actually Vujanovic that they could be closing. Are they closing in? Check last time around. No, the number 1 car was slightly quicker, but he's in the distance though. So if Vujanovic makes a mistake, he could be swallowed up by this lot as well.
Yeah, no, obviously Beaton is P3 at the moment in the silver class, so he's fighting for the second stuck on the podium. Looking like a bit of a tall order for now, Pinchbeck to claim that P1 position from Vujanovic, but I think he's really just going to try and try to go up the inside to Kanoit. Boys, that might give Pinchbeck the opportunity to actually get down Wellington Strait and up the inside of Brooklands.
That's the thing, is if Brophy makes a mistake and he puts the Bentley off, that is indeed going to give Pinchbeck an opportunity to try and improve in his position. Bear in mind that's an overall position, not a class position, so it's not going to give Pinchbeck any more points per se. It could be that he's just nailed himself to the back of the Bentley, but if he's got a pace advantage over De Kanoit, he's not going to want to just sit there and leave himself open to attackers now, as Spankerlink is very much involved in this particular scrap. So again, John Beaton cannot just concentrate on push Pinchbeck. Wow, does Spankerlink really mean business? Bouncing around in the Acura, looking to try and make a move. Can't quite get it done just yet. But there we go. That 5-car conga line has very much been formed. And I suspect this is going to go down to the flag. Oh, as we see Beaton get really, really out of shape. Getting into Maggers and Beckett's, his car just dancing around all over the place.
Yeah, Sims obviously had it seems like a bit of a quiet race. We haven't seen him at all for the first half of the race, first 3/4 of the race, and all of a sudden he's come alive.
Ta-da! I'm here, and what a time to be involved. Through Stowe again for Brophy, dragging the conga line with him. Vujanovic is probably up there thinking, yeah, you carry on, I'm glad I'm not involved in that. But of course he's leading the silver class. He's not really too fussed about what Brophy's doing. He's more worried about, but whoa, was the Mercedes very wide coming out of the club chicane there. That could have been disaster, but he managed to keep it in control. What on earth has happened? So, where did Pinchbeck go? Oh, no, sorry, Pinchbeck's in there. It's John Beaton that's disappeared. Him and Spenkelink have come together.
Oh, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Spenkelink's taken the position there, but it certainly looks like they've had some sort of incident together.
You never want to see it, but it does look like they've come together. I mean, Spenkelink really did look like he had the pace. I suspect he didn't anticipate slightly earlier breaking point from John Beaton there. We got a replay there. So let's see what happened. So we're watching Spenkelink at the moment through Stowe. What I suspect is he's either missed his breaking point or he hasn't anticipated John breaking a bit earlier. There you go. Now I wonder. Oh, and then got a big old punch in the face there. I wonder whether John was a little bit ragged going into Vale there, but I mean, unfortunately, Spenkelink still went into the back of him, irrespective of how that was caused. As Pinchbeck now nearly in the boot of the Bentley, then coming through Cops, now heading down towards Maggins and Beckett. So we can see another side by side. No, it's like you said earlier, Dave, it's a very, very dangerous place to go side by side. You can do it if you've got a very big pace advantage over the person you're passing, but it is very, very risky to do, as Pinchbeck has decided to do some lawn mowing on the exit of Chapel Curve there. Oh, that's not going to help his pace. Oh, mind you saying that, no one seems to have told him that, as he was nailed to the back of the Bentley then going into Stowe. No, he's not going to be able to get it done that time. Slightly further back then, there is Spenkelink. In fairness, John Beaton's with him. They've now got Van Dreunen with them, as Pinchbeck, I think, has made the move, as we see. Oh, goodness me, I can't call it quick enough. Beaton getting ahead of Spenkelink. We've got Pinchbeck getting ahead of De Kanoit. And right behind them, Van Dreunen is joining them in the number 70 car, that second train at least.
Yeah, it looks like, obviously, Pinchbeck made the move for sure, but it looks like Spenkelink slowed down and let Beaton pass, because obviously it was an unfortunate incident. Oh, especially nearly. Oh, he's stuck in the grass. Let's hope he can stop that when he comes back on the track.
As he did, he gets. Yeah, that's all over the place. I did. You're quite right, Dave. He did indeed let the position back to John Beaton, which was a very sportsman thing to do. But then that's put him completely out of his rhythm. And Van Dreunen has just gone, yeah, thanks for that. I'll have 13th out of it. But that you can guarantee is not going to remain like that without further challenge. There's going to be some more racing to do with less than 10.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I think Pinchbeck now only 5 seconds behind Vujinovic, so I think that position is going to be very difficult to attain. So I think we might be looking at the first two in the silver class, but Beaton and Van Dreunen are battling out for the final step on the podium in the silver class. So that's gonna rumble on for the next 9 minutes, and it's going to be interesting to see how that finishes.
Dave Jr. and Nada Basadovic are still arguing over 6th position. They've been having a great old scrap for absolutely ages, and they still haven't let go. The treble one of Adam Basadovic still fending off the number 10 of Dave Jr. Then slightly further back, you've got this fight with Dick Anut and Pinchbeck. Now Pinchbeck a couple of seconds off the back of Brophy, so that this train has very much dissipated. It's now sort of Brophy. There is Brophy at the top of the shot. Obviously, with the spins we had earlier on, did break up this train a little bit. I wonder whether Pinchbeck and De Kanoit have made a bit of a mistake, because they were about 2 seconds slower than Brophy last lap. So I suspect there was a mistake, possibly from Pinchbeck, that caught De Kanoit out. But either way, they're still running, and Pinchbeck then just about hanging on to the top 10. And De Kanoit is wanting to do something about that. Again, that's not for class. That is for that's just overall position. Also, Ben Mullard, I've noticed, in the 77s, getting very, very close to Nathan Pierce. Nathan Pierce was slightly quicker last time around. There's only 1.7 seconds between those two. So the McLaren could well be challenging for 4th before the day is done.
Yeah, Mullard seems to just be putting in maybe 4 or 5 tenths a lap improvement over Nathan Pierce. So that could be a position that boils up at the end of the race here. But it's, as we've been always said, on GT3s and GT4s are always very difficult to overtake. So really got to have a good pace advantage to make an easy pass, but or sling one up the inside, as they say.
Indeed. As we look at the ever continuing battle for 13th, that's Van Dreunen and Spenkelink. the Acura behind at the moment, but behind the BMW, but still time for Spengling to try and regain that particular spot. That's on board from the chasing number 74. Again, this is for overall, not for class position. Van Drunen's in the silver class, Spengling is not, so that isn't going to kind of change their point or by too much. John Beaton is, however, in the same class as Van Drunen, so that'll certainly be a target for the BMW driver. So we'll see how Spengling handles that one as the time goes on. Dekanoit has fallen off the back of Pinchback. I suspect Pinchback might want to change off after Brophy. He's more interested in Vujinovic, but he's quite some distance down the road with not many minutes remaining of what's been an absolutely enthralling battle here in Silverstone.
There's been lots of close battles. Sometimes you can see that it just ends up getting a bit spread out, but this has been awesome. There's lots of close battles. There's up and down the field. Unfortunately, we've been robbed a little bit of the top three being close all race, but it's been excellent all the way down the field, isn't it?
Certainly has. Ben Mullard took about half a second out of Nathan Pearce last time around, as Adam Asadovic is under pressure from Dave Jr. for 6th position yet again. There was a little bit of a gap last time between the two, but Asadovic now being closed down very heavily by the number 10 BMW. You saw how tight Asadovic took Luffield, so he's defending that inside line for everything he's got. And BMW is a bit of a big beast, so it's a difficult thing to pass at the best of times, but Selovic defending very, very much from Dave Jr. Again, Dave is doing everything he can and has been doing everything he can for a long time to try and overcome the lipstick emblazoned number 111. Although actually in that particular shot, the red on the front of the car didn't actually look so accented. So maybe I've been a little bit unfair. It's certainly a very colourful car. Oh, Dave Jr. taking a very tight line there coming through Beckett's. He wants the momentum through Chapel. Is he going to get it now? All the way down, Hanger Strait. Now, Adam has gone to the racing line. Dave's gone for the inside, but does not commit to it. Is he going to try and make a banzai coming into the inside of Club? Let's have a look then. Through Stowe. They're going to follow, of course, the usual racing line. Is Adam going to defend the outside line? No. And Dave looks to take it, but does not feel he has the momentum to do it and backs out of it. 5.5 minutes to go.
that was tongue in cheek. That one, I think it was going to be really close. Whether Dave Jr. just sort of launched one up the inside that would be certainly going through my mind. Whether I had enough room to and some respect from Adam Asadovic to try and make that pass, but they're still at it. And Dave Jr. certainly seems to have a little bit more pace than Adam Asadovic here as he comes into I think that's Village, isn't it, and around into the loop onto the Wellington Strait. So you can see the lines into Luffield. It's very much defensive against offensive there, and Dave Jr. is really trying to get the extra pace down the old start finish straight.
Yes, several battles we're looking at is Van Drunen and Spengling yet again, still having an argument for 13th position. Very defensive there from Van Drunen coming into the loop, and that's put him off. That's the danger of going so defensive so early. The BMW can't find the Acura off side by side now. Coming down Wellington Strait, that's going to force Spengling to the outside line. No, he tucks back behind the BMW. Then you've got the next. That's the McLaren right behind. That's Lenson. He was one of the first pitters in the race. So Dan Lenson, he's actually closing in on this particular fight. Could he influence this one for the end? Oh, can Spengling cut underneath the BMW? Side by side again now, coming out of Luffield through Copse, heading down towards through Woodcote, beg your pardon. Now it does look like the Acura is going to get it done. Is he going to complete it, or can the BMW banzai on the outside? Yeah, Van Drunen knew that one was done. Oh, is that going to force Spengling too wide, though? Is there going to be an opportunity for Van Drunen to attack back into Maggotts and Beckett? Here comes the McLaren. Is Dan Lenson actually kept something in his tyres to make this attack? What was Lanson's lap time last time around? Well, 59.7, whereas Van Drunen and Spengling were in the 2 minutes. So it could be that the McLaren... Look at that! Lanson's absolutely decimated the gap up to these two. I mean, mainly because they're fighting. 3.5 minutes to go. He could challenge from these particular positions, but yet again, another three-car fight going on.
Yeah, I mean, Van Drunen's obviously, he's not even fighting Spengling for his class position, but excellent racing. What amazing racing this is. And Lenson, he obviously just thought, well, I'm going to have a bit of this. Thank you very much. I'm going to just rock up to the back of this, and I'll see if I can get 2 or 3 paces here.
Absolutely, and he's entitled to do so. So, yeah, give it a go. Why not? Dave Jr. still on the back of Adam Asailovic. Only a few laps remaining, and still the Battle of the Beamers carrying on for 6th position. Mullard, I think, may run out of steam just about. He's been closing in on that on that 4th position, but here we go again. It's this three-way fight: Acura versus BMW versus McLaren, as Lancer nearly nails the back of Van Drunen. Van Drunen was a little slow coming out of the loop, and the McLaren nearly hit the back of the BMW. But on board then with Van Drunen as he's chasing off after Spankeling. McLaren, I can't believe how quickly Dan Lenson's actually closed that gap in. Bit wider coming through Brooklands, but that's not really going to make an awful lot of difference. Now on board with the number 31, can he make a difference? I mean, we will see. Van Drunen, as Dave was saying, as you can see on the tower, isn't in the same class as Dan Lenson. He would ideally like to be having a go at Spankeling, but can't do so because there's a BMW in the way. Well, unless the BMW has its own issue, of course, but right now the McLaren is doing a great job has done a great job of catching up to them, but can he do anything about it with less than 2 minutes to go?
And we've got Rich Pixley only 0.3 of a second now behind Vanier, so that is for class position as well as position, so that's awesome. Quite painful, coming up to almost the last lap of the race, I think. Still 6.3 seconds ahead, so he's just consolidated his lead there. He hasn't got the fastest lap of the race, unfortunately, by only 0.05 of a second. So it's been very close in terms of the overall pace, but he's made it count probably when it needed to.
Spankeling defending the attack from Van Drunen coming into Stone. Now the McLaren getting involved. Can Lanson do anything about it? Well, he's got the pace to do anything about it, but has he got the time? As Dave was saying, that's the reminder of who our race leader has been all night long. As Bainey is, he's been in a class of one, quite frankly. No one has been anywhere near what he's able to do. But wow, just such a great three-way scrap going on. Can the Acura do anything about their pursuers? We will see on what's going to be. I would imagine it's going to be their penultimate lap. Bainey, it is the last lap then. Oh, the BMW's out of shape coming out of the loop. Is this going to be an opportunity for the McLaren? Can Dan Lenson do anything about it? The BMW looked like it got very tail happy coming out of the loop. And you can see the impact that's had. And look at the breathing space that Spankley gets out. I mean, it's not very much. It's only 0.7 of a second. But considering how close these two have been for ages, that is a huge gap, comparatively speaking. And unfortunately, Dan Lenson just couldn't quite muscle his way past. But still, they've got the rest of the lap to sort it out.
I think with Clive Bainey's obviously got the half a lap to go with these guys battling out really for the rest of the lap. But I think Lenson's probably now too far behind, even if he got past Van Drunen to really attack Spankeling. So I think he's going to struggle to pick up that place.
And it would seem so. It's, as you can see on the screen on the right hand side, the checkered flag doth await. The number 85 car, Clive Bainey, has just been untouchable all night long. And fair play. You really could not fault him whatsoever as he comes around Luffield for the final time with a face full of back marker. So then your winner here in Silverstone for the penultimate round of the season is car number 85. It is Clive Bainey, has taken the win by 6.8 seconds over the number 2 of Adrian Antomarchi. He's come over the line now. Kieran Vidago will claim the last of the podium spots in the top category. These three are still having an argument as they're coming through Abbey now. They've still got the rest of the lap to do, so that battle is going to continue. Nathan Pearce is a bit of a distance behind Kieran. There we go. He's taken 4th, very closely followed by Ben Mullard. So the McLaren was still beaten back to 5th position. And then Adam Asailovic and Dave Jr. are still scrapping very, very close for 6th position. That's the battle you can see on the right-hand screen. But it's Adam Asailovic wins out on that one. And Junior knew it, flashing his lights as the McLaren has a look on the inside line, coming down towards Brooklands, can't get it done. So it looks like Vujanovic is going to take the silver class win. Yes, he does, being chased home by Brophy, then pinch back, then it's going to be De Canoit, beaten very closely followed, and then it's this pack. So Spankley holds on But, well, they all hang on to their respective positions. Spenkelink in 13th, Van Drun in 14th. Lenson, great job there, recovering towards the end to finish in 15th position. And, well, everybody else follows in very short order. What a race!
It was awesome. That was so close at the end there, just battling all the time. It's what a great race all the way through the field. And as like we said earlier, maximum respect from everybody. Looking at the incidents on the race control, it's very small. Maybe 10 incidents in terms of contacts. But what a race over for 75 minutes. It's unheard of normally to have that sort of level of contact.
Absolutely. Oh, that was thoroughly enjoyed that beginning to end. Very little time to breathe, let alone anything else. Wow, that was amazing. Absolutely brilliantly enjoyed that, and we hope that you lovely spectators watching either live or post-event enjoyed it as much as we did. Hopefully we'll get a chance to have a chat with a few people, because it'd be great to see who's got what to say, really, because again, that was, other than Mr. Bainey up front, everyone really had to work hard for their positions.
They did, yeah, and I'm sure that we'll get a couple of guys coming down, but just maybe a quick word on what we're coming up in the summer. So we obviously, like you said, we've only got one round left of both the GT4s and the GT3s championship this year. As you can see from on May the 24th, we've got Kyalami with a 75-minute race, again one mandatory pit stop, so that will finish out the GT3 season. And just to announce what we're going to be doing in the summer, so we're going to be running an 8-round series, which we invite anybody to attend. You could join on SGP, simracing.gp, join our community, Simsport Racing International, and you can see that we are using some of the less used cars out there. So some of the new stuff from the latest DLC, starting off with the BMW M2, the Ferrari Challenge, so make sure you brake early enough with that one. Latest Porsche Cup, which is an awesome car, and as we spoke about, the Lambo Super Trofeo EV2, which again is a lovely car to drive. The BMW M4, which we've seen here, doing so well. Lexus finishing out with the McLaren and the AMR, the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. So all single class races, so pit yourself against the best of the community, all being on the same night of the week, every other Tuesday roughly, unless we've got an endurance race, which means that we have to use some of the time to do things like qualifying. But please do join us. If you join the Discord channel, we'll point you in the right direction to make sure you can get signed up on simracing.gp.
Excellent stuff. And I think we might have someone waiting to speak to us. Just having a look in the Discord. Yes, we do. Dusan Vijanovic is waiting to have a chat. And there he is, the winner of the silver class. Dusan Vijanovic, can you hear us?
Yes. Hello. Good evening.
Oh, what a great race. So retaining the number one spot in the silver class, but that didn't look like it was an easy fight for anybody, really. I mean, talk us through it from your side.
Well, I'm pretty happy with my performance. It wasn't easy at all. Yeah, I made a couple of mistakes while pitting, so I lost a couple of positions, but still, it was good enough to keep the first position. Also, my pressures were awful. So I was struggling with that as well in the last couple of laps, but still, I'm pretty happy.
Goodness me. So issues with the car and still came home with a win. Were you concerned at all from the battling behind you, or were you just purely concentrating on what you were doing?
No, I was looking at their pace, so I was kind of adjusting to it. I wasn't over pushing at any point. It was pretty easy from my point of view because I didn't have to battle anyone. So
fair play.
It was kind of boring still. It's a win, so I don't mind. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want in the end of the day. You would prefer the win if it was just under simple circumstances. So we see out the season in Kyalami. Is that a track you like? Does that do well for you? What's your thoughts?
I've never done a single lap there, so we'll see.
Excellent.
I'm still a beginner here, so.
Beginner, and he's still winning by a distance. Goodness me, fair play. Well, a great race. Well done to you, Dusan, and we very much looking forward to seeing you for the grand finale in Kyalami. Thank you very much, Dusan Vijanovic.
Thank you.
We've got our top three. So let's have a chat, first of all, with the number 71, Kieran Vidago. Can you hear us?
Hello, mate.
Oh, well, I mean, the early challenge on Mr. Antomarchi looked pretty intense for a while, but sadly it kind of dropped off a little bit. Was it just burning the best out of the tires too quickly? What was going on?
Yeah, probably a bit of burning the tires up, and then as soon as I got out the slipstream, I just couldn't match the pace anymore. I think really Adrian was just pulling me along more than me actually fighting with him. Adrian and Quite were in a complete league of their own tonight. Not really much I could do.
Even still, you gave it everything you had, but you didn't have a great deal of challenge. Once the kind of top three had settled in, it didn't look like anybody could match your pace.
Yeah. Again, I think Adrian sort of dragged me along in that first stint up until I lost touch with him, and pulled me away from everyone behind.
Will it be any different in Kyalami next time around?
I hope so. One of my favorite tracks. So yeah, hopefully put a bit more practice in as well.
Awesome stuff. Well, we very much look forward to seeing you on the podium again. Thank you very much, Kieran Vidago.
Cheers, Chris.
Adrian Antomarchi, you with us?
Hey.
Well, as we were saying to Kieran, that early challenge for second looked pretty intense for a while. Were you really concerned on what Kieran was doing, or were you confident you could keep him behind?
It was tough at the beginning. I knew I had a setup that I really worked on the consistency on the tire for 45 minutes or 1 hour. So I knew that if I could keep my pace and whatever happens, I would still gain at the end of the stint. So yeah, and once he got out of the slipstream, I directly saw that I was a tiny bit faster. So yeah, I was a bit less under pressure at that time.
And then it must have just kind of felt like routine up to that point. But will that be the same in Kyalami next time around? Is that a track you're looking forward to?
Definitely. I don't really know on the standings right now, but I think I'm closing to Dean. I don't know how much points we have a difference. It will be tough, but yeah, really looking forward to it.
And we are as well. We very much look forward to seeing how it goes for the mighty BMW. Thank you very much, and best of luck, Adrian Antomarchi.
Thanks. Have a nice evening. Cheers.
Thank you, Connie. And our winner. I mean, wow, what can we say to that? What a performance to Clay Barney. Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Wow, what Struth. Only by half a tenth did you not have the fastest lap, but even still, for every potential challenge you could have had, you had an answer and a little bit more every single lap. I mean, what's the secret? How do you do it?
Fair. I mean, in quali, I had a bit of pace, so at that part I thought, okay, you know what, it's looking good. I might have that pace in the race, but in the end, they were a lot closer than I was expecting. Credit to Adrian as well, because he definitely kept me up to pressure in the first end, and it was really important just to keep my lines going, just to be consistent, because I knew that if I made just one mistake, that Adrian would just be very close near me. Happy that the pit stop went well, so I gained, I think, about half a second there as well. And in the second stint, there was more grip. So even though I saw Adrian do the fastest lap, at that point I was thinking, yeah, I just need to just stop messing up my laps, and I know that the pace is there.
Now, will the BMW be just as strong at Kyalami, do you think?
Well, I don't think so, because it was ridiculously strong here. Like, it was not okay, in my opinion. But anyway, I think the Honda will be a lot better in Kyalami, and I don't know, it might have an advantage of a tenth, so at least it will be very exciting between us and the Hondas, and maybe the McLaren as well, if they can get a good setup as well.
Awesome stuff. Well, great win. Well done. We didn't really see a lot of you, really, because you just ran off into the sunset, and the win is very, very well deserved. We very much look forward to seeing you for the grand final in Kyalami. Well done on the win, and best of luck next time around. Thank you very much, Clay Bunny.
Cheers, Chris.
And that is going to wrap things up here for Silverstone for the penultimate round of the season. Thank you very much to those that have been with us live and post-event. We very much have enjoyed your company. As you can see on the screen, it is Kyalami on the 24th of May to see out what has been a fantastic season. And we very much look forward to the very tight and technical track in the South African Classic. Thank you very much, Dave Christie, for pointing the cameras for us. A wonderful job, sir. Thank you kindly for that. Thank you very much, Dave Hedges and Wouter Verder, for keeping me on the straight and narrow. It's a difficult job, but you weather it well. So do join us for the grand finale in a couple of weeks' time. It is going to be a spectacular race with Dean not joining us this time. He's going to have to work hard to maintain his grip on that championship title. Until then, thank you very much and good night!